Hello and welcome to this very special edition of The Intersection with Hannah Janes and Graham Hughes. Just remembered, I forgot to download the names. You know, I said. Oh. Anyway, so our names aren't going to come up on the screen. Unfortunately, they'll have to sack our visual editor, won't we? Oh, you vision mixers. I don't know. Before we get cracking, I just want to say a big shout out to Martin in the chat, also Pete's Music and Chris C. Diz is in there, L Butterfly Effect, and others. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat here, we're a friendly group here. All you need to do is hit the big, lovely subscribe button and wait for approximately 1 minute, and you'll be able to join in with the chat, I think. If you're having trouble joining in, I don't know how you'd let us know. But yeah, I didn't check on the settings for that before we started, because I've got a feeling I might have to edit this setup. Sorry, everyone. I'll be with you in a moment, but I want to make sure that everyone can join in with the chats. Where's the chat function? Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, minimum subscribe time, 1 minute. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Right, don't need to change that. Phew. Right, back to work. So tonight we're going to be talking about the male loneliness epidemic and the toxic manosphere. And this is a conversation that we've wanted to sort of have on here for ages, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it quite often privately, don't we? There's bits and pieces that come up all the time. But I think it'd be an interesting episode for the intersection, and it would be really good to see what people in the chat think as well, because I think it has to be a wider conversation.
Yeah. So we're coming from the idea that the toxic manosphere is deadly for women, clearly. Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan, common name, yeah. He obviously went to local comp. They're wanted for trafficking women, for rape, for sexual coercion, all kinds of charges that have been brought against them. I don't know why they're not in jail. I don't know how that works.
No,
I don't know how they're wanted in 3 different countries. They've got charges against them in Bulgaria, in the UK, and the US. But I would also point out that this is something that doesn't get discussed as much. I think they're doing just as much damage to men. So here's the thinking: is like, it is in their interest. It's in their financial interests to keep people on the hook. So they are, and it's not just Andrew Tate, it's these pick-up artists on the internet who propagate the toxic manosphere, and they go, okay, well, listen, treat women like shit, and that's how you get women, right? Knowing that's not how you get women, that's how you become repugnant and you repel women and male friends as well, and you become isolated, and then you become lonely, and then you go, oh, the male loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
Because we were saying earlier about it being like, it's not even just men. It's women who are feeling lonely at the moment because of atomization of the world, of life, of modern life. But also, when it comes to the fact that like they're making money, and the last thing they want to do is set things up so the men who are watching their shows find someone, fall in love, settle down, and then stop watching their shows.
Well, this is it. They're cashing in on a vulnerability that society has created, and they're adding to the problem, not offering workable solutions. Yeah. And that's my issue. And not only does it become dangerous for women, which is, men are already dangerous to women, and men are dangerous to men. So that's, they also become more dangerous to men also, because they're sort of radicalising a young, vulnerable group who have that sense of loss of community, which is where that loneliness comes from. And this is where you get the problem. They find community in these sort of red pill spaces because they don't have that in the real world. Yeah. And this is when it becomes dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. Sarah Davies, thank you very much for the first super chat of the evening. I realise I haven't set that up properly. You tell I haven't done an intersection for a while. Thanks very much. Hi Graham, hi Hannah, hi Sarah. Hi. How you doing? And apparently it was Romania, not Bulgaria. Sorry, I got that mixed up. But yes, and Martin's falling in love with you. So there you go, because you got your hair down.
Thank you. Yeah, you don't see it.
What about me? I've got my hair down as well. Okay, thanks. Anyway, but yeah, this is that's probably one of the most insidious things about all this, is they're doing this on purpose, knowing it's not going to work. It's not empowering men. Certainly not empowering women, but the men and young men in particular who are getting pulled into this idea that you need to neg women, you need to say horrible things to them, and this is the way to get yourself a partner. This is the way to get someone to bed. And it doesn't work. It might work in, very exceptional circumstances if someone is otherwise very charming and debonair and loads of money and can buy drinks for everyone. But for your average bod like me, I mean, if I went up to a woman who I fancied and went, I think you're really shit, they'll probably throw the drink in my face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not going to go well, is it? And but it's interesting that this is quite like men are taking advice. Men are still subscribing. And yet you've got women like myself, other women who make the kind of content that I create. A little bit lacking on that lately, sorry guys. But we're saying don't listen to them. Don't do that. That's bad. We don't want this. The women that are nice and will treat you nicely and you'll have a lovely, like, compromising sort of relationship where, like, it's teamwork and you'll have this healthy balance, don't want men like they're telling you to be. And yet you're ignoring us. And it's bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Why would you not, if you're looking to get hold of or stay in a relationship with a certain group of people, why would you not be listening to what they're telling you?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
So the best people, I think, to be doing pick-up artist street videos would be women.
Yeah.
This is what I'm looking for in a man. This is what I want a man to say to me. And generally, look, I'm ripping somebody else's content off here unashamedly, but I thought it was really funny. He said, I just want to thank the people who have gone down the toxic manosphere because I've been single for a while and seriously, it's never been so easy because all I have to do is not be a complete insufferable twat because this is what young men are being told to be in order to, go to the gym, do yourself, and you're getting a whole generation. I don't want to throw a whole generation in with themselves, not all boomers, but like, a younger generation who look at themselves, they're not happy with how they look. There's a lot of men now. There's a thing about getting plastic surgery and
looks maxing.
Amongst young men, and it's just, I don't want to tell them, like, obviously there's some proper fucking mingers out there, and they found someone. It's fine. I'm one of them. It's fine. Like, you don't need to have plastic surgery, but the iron grip that the influencers have on these toxic influences, the manosphere. But I think that we need to take, this is such a left-wing thing to say, I think we need to take some of the blame. But I do think that we need more people on the left talking about getting together with members of the opposite sex or members of the same sex. But like, it seems to be that part of the internet has been absolutely taken over by the right wing.
And it's not good for anyone. But it's interesting because they're not teaching women. They're not teaching men how to pick up women. They're teaching men how to impress other men.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's true.
It's a my knob's bigger than yours situation. Yeah, isn't it? That's kind of what it comes down to because women don't want what they're advertising. So it's really bizarre to me that this is working. Yeah. I've just realised that we are dropping frames, so I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping here. Sorry, everyone. Don't want to be dropping frames. Video. Stream. Oh, God. Come on. There we go. So, okay. Right, I'm just going to turn down the internet speed a little bit. Your neighbours are probably watching they're probably watching Bridgerton. Everyone's watching Bridgerton. So, apart from us. We're the only ones not watching Bridgerton. Oh no, I think it's crashed. Don't crash. What is happening? Okay, I hope we're still streaming. Hello. Let us know in the chat if we're still streaming because it looked like the program just crashed. He drops frames like names. So you see that it says dropped frames. It's like 1,700. Oh, we're still dropping frames. That's not good. Do you have a thing to plug into the internet? Do you have like a cable to plug it? No. Okay. Oh well, never mind. It's okay. We will survive. Put something on the ground to protect the carpet from dropping all the frames. Yeah, we should do. So what else have we got here? Why do men sell dick pics? That's a question from Diz. Why do they sell them?
Send them. Why do they send them? Yeah.
I think that's a power thing, personally. I think it's I'm going to expose you to something you haven't asked for. I think sometimes it's a little bit of a like, I'll just try it and see. It never works. Let me tell you now, it never ever works. But I think it's mostly a power thing. It's like, it's a little bit like, I don't think I can actually get you, so what I'm going to do is expose you to something that makes me feel powerful and you feel helpless.
What's the difference between that and someone getting on the bus and flashing, which is a criminal offence?
Yeah, there is none. I didn't consent to see either of those things. I don't want to be exposed. You know, it's different if you're in a consenting relationship or you want to send something to your partner or someone you're seeing. But, you know, especially if you're a relative stranger, I don't want to see that. And I have had many. It's not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's never nice, and it's never something I want to see. It's never something I ask to see.
Yeah.
It's just like, here you go.
We've got some more super chats come in. SpongeBob Death Star. What a great name, SpongeBob Death Star. Great topic of discussion. Thanks for the daily content. It keeps me staying in this mad world. Oh, thank you, SpongeBob. That is very kind of you. Sphere Lance says, I saw an idiot waving. Was it me? Thanks very much. Ivan says, going back some years, things were going somewhere. Now, because of Tate, to name a few, things are going backwards. Yeah, he's not the only person who's causing this to happen, but yeah, he's certainly in the frame for this. And also, Sarah, Hannah, can I have your autograph, please?
Of course you can.
Yay!
Absolutely.
We've got Heather's autograph and we've got Scott's autograph, so we will get... Sorry, not Heather, Rachel. We've got Rachel's autograph. So we'll also get Hannah's and I'm seeing tomorrow. I'm seeing Mike tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We're not doing a show with Mike tomorrow because he's not feeling so great at the moment. If you're watching this, hi Mike.
Hi Mike.
But yeah, I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to see you tomorrow. I'm going to turn up and demand tea. Demand the finest tea in Christendom. So that should be fun. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's very kind of you. And then I'm going to be coming back to London and I'm going to be doing a show in the evening with Scott and Pranay, and we're going to do a Friday night social, hopefully in a pub. Hopefully it might be around Pranay's place if we can't find somewhere quiet and with decent internet. Decent internet, Hannah. Decent internet. That's all right. So it's because I pressed the magic button to get on the internet. Yeah, I should have typed in the password. That would have worked better. There's just so many things that go wrong in these things. But yeah, thank you very much to Saz for the super chat. And we have triggered the first confetti of the evening. So, confetti! Woo! Yay! So yeah, going back to when we were talking about the fact that it would be good if there was more people on the left saying all this. There was more women talking about it as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's not women's jobs to do that, Yeah. It's not women's jobs to babysit men to do the right thing. And yeah, it would be the best way of getting through to a few of these young men because they'll obviously watch a video that's got a thumbnail of a woman on it rather than, this face.
Interestingly, though, I feel like men listen to other men. Like, I can say the same thing that you would say on one of your pieces of content and people will take it better coming from me because you're a man, even though it's my lived experience. Which is irritating as fuck. So
we should put you on the thumbnail so they click on it, and then I should be on the show so they actually listen to it.
I mean, if it works, it works. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. Use a cable to the router. Yes, I know, Andy. We don't have a cable. Sorry, Andy. Sorry. I should have brought a bloody Cat 7 cable. I should have done. Okay. Interaction. Got dropped from Discord. I'm sorry, El. I'll sort that out. I haven't been on Discord for a couple of weeks, so I've been on it for fucking ages. I'll have a look. And Pygmalion says, I've given up on dating. It's not fun anymore. And this is an issue that, because of the toxicity within the dating realm, and because life has changed so much in the last 20 years, the way we used to meet our partners was usually through school or work or friends. Church was a big thing. It just isn't there anymore in the same way that it was back 20 years ago. So a lot of people are meeting online, and that opens the door for a lot of very, very toxic men to do horrible things. And we hear daily stories about catfishing and about men pretending to be someone that they're not, or arranging to meet someone in real life and then stalking them. This is really a big issue, and I don't know what the answer is. I don't want to drop it on you, but I don't know what the answer is to this.
No, I don't either, but I think something that would contribute, obviously we talked about this in the last episode of The Intersection, I think, we're talking about education in schools, things like that, talking about how the porn industry has affected how young men are growing up and seeing female bodies. All of that kind of stuff is really helpful. And then just men talking to other men. I think we've also lost this sort of like interpersonal connection. Like we're talking about the male loneliness epidemic. You know, a lot of feminists are going, I don't think they're lonely enough. And occasionally I have a moment where I feel that way. So, some of you are not very nice. However, I think there's a broader topic of discussion here where we need to find ways of building community. Yeah. Because it's not just men that are lonely, women are lonely too. And we're all sort of doing everything through screens. We've lost sort of the villages that you would raise your children within. Yeah. We live in a society where everything's online. We've lost it. Even if you sit around a dinner table, how many people are on their phones, even though they've gone over to someone's house? Yeah. It's that's sort of contributing to loneliness.
Physical mobility is a lot more expensive than it used to be. We don't necessarily have close friends in our vicinity, even if it's just like, you know, in a city, in like Liverpool. I've got mates, but they all live 20 minutes away. Yeah. Like no one lives like literally I can walk out my house, go next door, and then I'm hanging out with mates. It doesn't really happen like that anymore. And also trying to get around, like just coming here. So someone was asking, I was at Rachel's this morning, and it was 3 hours to get over here.
It's a long way.
Yeah. So I was in Kent, and now what's this?
We're near Winchester.
Winchester. Yeah, but what county is this?
It's Hampshire.
No idea where I am. I'm in Hampshire. I'm in Hampshire today. But yeah, blah blah CW says blink twice if you need help, Hannah. Lol. Hannah's not the one who should be blinking. One Angry Ping says the closing of youth community centres across the country, hasn't helped absolutely. Either. And it is very, very difficult. Sophia Lance is saying, as a very awkward autistic man, I doubt I'll ever be in a relationship, but I'm not owed anything for trying to be nice to people. Those kinds of people are very weird. Yeah, I get that, Sophia Lance, but don't ever think that you're not worthy or you won't find anyone. I've got friends who are very autistic and they've found someone. They've found, you know, someone that they want to spend the rest of their life with, and who wants to spend the rest of their life with them. You know, there's an old joke about the two old men, you know, sitting at the side of the road, and the woman walks past, and the one says to the other, "When do you stop looking?" And he goes, "Never." You know, never, never. Like when do you say, oh, "Okay, I'm done now"? Winchester, ideal for when the zombies start.
Oh yeah.
Fight down the Winchester. Ivan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. All of the dangers and wrongs of toxic masculinity must be part of the curriculum at the earliest possible age. Now, like, it's been a while since we last did an intersection together, and thanks very much for the super chat, Ivan. A very good point that you've made there. Labour are trying to bring in for 11-year-old boys to be taught about the toxic manosphere and inappropriate behaviour. Mm-hmm. And there was pushback against this by Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservatives, who said, it's not 11-year-old boys who are abusing women, it's immigrants. Oh, fucking hell.
First of all, that's just factually incorrect. Like, it's not immigrants. Like, you know, with any kind of group, there are bad apples, shall we say. If we're talking about the immigrants thing, it's mostly men, you know, and they're mostly white cis men. Yeah. So let's get that straight. But it's not 11-year-old boys doing those things, but we are exposed to more things as minors, as children, than ever before because of the internet. And not every parent can be across everything. You know, like my goddaughter is 12. She's got a phone. There's every block on there, but who's to say that someone at school might show her something because their parents haven't managed to sort of find their way to
a horrible boy, go and look at this.
Exactly. So you have to start young because these things are going to happen without the guidance of educators or parents if you don't start young. Yeah. Because let's not try to be undoing like the 25-year-old who starts hitting his wife or yelling at women. Let's start, you know, teaching boys that's not how you talk to girls in the first place. Yeah. You can't undo it once it's done. It's much harder to undo than it is to prevent in the first place. So that needs to be first port of call as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. And we've got another super chat coming from Martin saying, for Hannah's hair down, and you've got £2 for having your hair down.
Thank you.
What about me? What about my hair down? It's not fair. I used to have beautiful curly ginger like locks. Mine. Oh, I miss them. I miss those days. But you know, I want to talk about on the internet, like the fact that, you know, I've never had a problem with all this, and I don't think I'm like the most attractive bloke in the world. I'm certainly not rich. But I'm outgoing and I'm funny and I tell jokes and stories and get people excited about stuff. But I never think that women owe me anything, or men, for that instance. Why should, just because you fancy someone, it doesn't mean that they must automatically fancy you. And if they don't, they're evil and scum and dreadful. And we've got to stop this mentality. And part of that is going to be getting into the curriculum. But as who was saying in the comments there, Chris C, the problem with teaching about toxic masculinity in schools, you will have those in society who claim it is erasing men. Yeah, you'll have them, Chris, I'm sure. But I mean, come on. Like, can we take those people seriously when they say, "Oh yeah, men are being erased"? It's like the transphobes who say women are being erased because they use the term "people who give birth" to cover trans men.
Yeah, or chest feeding. Using inclusive
language,
using inclusive language is not diminishing my womanhood. It's just adding language so that you're inclusive. Do you know what I mean? I don't get it as a woman.
We've had some really good trans news today. First of all, these knobheads who tried to stop trans women taking part in a swim in, I think, the Serpentine or somewhere in Hyde Park. They got their court case kicked out, and the EU have banned conversion therapy for trans people and for everyone on the LGBTQ spectrum.
As they should. It's like torture.
Yes, it is torture.
It's torture.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. It's like if you like the taste of a particular food, like imagine someone said, right, you're not allowed to have biscuits anymore. Right, I'm going to make you not like chocolate digestives.
Yeah, I mean,
how do I go about that? Unless I go into like Clockwork Orange or something. And
you could
show you images of I don't know, chocolate digestives committing atrocities, or like how do if you like the taste of a biscuit, how do you stop a human being who I don't know, associate it with something awful, I guess. But it's just it's cruel.
It's bonkers.
It's torture.
It's torture.
So we have had some good news today. I like to share a bit of good news. But I want to see Andrew Tate in jail.
Me too.
Along with his brother and all of his facilitators. I want better restrictions on the internet for these kind of creeps who are hurting women, clearly, but are also hurting men. And we need to be talking about this more, because I don't see that much content on the internet that talks about the fact that the toxic manosphere is toxic to men as well. It's killing young men.
No, I don't see a lot either. I mean, if I do, it's mainly women, and then there's a whole bunch of men in the comments section normally going, "Yeah, well, I like him. He has some valid points," and I'm just like, like,
what do you say to that?
Well, there's nothing you can say really. Like, it does, the call's coming from inside the house. It does need to be men having these conversations because it's harming you like it's harming us, but no one really wants to listen to the women. So where do you go with that?
Chris has got a good point as well here again. Sorry, Chris, I know what you were saying before about teaching it in schools, that people will say that. I know you're not saying that we shouldn't. But the other thing that you've said there, serious question, do you think there are still a lot of pressure on boys, especially teenage boys, to conform to the perceived normal that they have to be strong and not show weakness? Yeah, and that is completely toxic for men as well. Men die because of that. Men die because they don't get the mental health support that they need, because they don't ask for it, and they die because they don't go to the fucking doctors after they go for a piss and blood comes out. They don't go to the doctors because they're like, oh no, it'll be fine, I'm a man, it'll be fine. And they don't want to be seen as a hypochondriac or like feminine, and that feminine energy of going to the doctors and saying, I think I've got a problem here.
That's weakness. Whereas actually I think, to be honest, it's pheasant behaviour to not go. Like, you're asking to get run over. Do you know what I mean?
Pheasant behaviour. I can tell him in Hampshire, look at this, pheasant behaviour. It means nothing to me.
But where is the lie? Those of you who live in the countryside will understand that. Right? They're just so you're asking to, like, this stuff is stuff you have access to, stuff that is there, and I understand that we have to undo the stigma, because men crying, not weakness, men going to doctor, not weakness, and most normal nice women will also encourage you to do those things because they care about you. The men that are profiting off of your loneliness don't give a shit about you.
Yeah. And the last thing they want is for you to stop being lonely, because then you'll stop watching their shit.
Yeah, and they stop making money.
Yeah. They need to keep people hooked, and it's a conveyor belt, isn't it? Because you watch these shows because you got you want to find out what girls find attractive and how to pick up, and then what you're told is a load of bullshit. You're told to go to the gym and work out and go up to a woman and tell her that you hate her.
Basically,
well done. Be really, really toxic and aggressive and horrible, because people love it when you're like that.
Yeah, we really enjoy it.
But yeah, and I know this is everyone, and in real life, I think that people, when men try that, there's two ways they can go. Some of them do it and they get a glass of wine in their face and they don't do it again. Do you know what I mean? But there is a number of people who go, oh, the woman reacted badly to me doing the right thing. I've done all the right things. I did everything right, and yet I still got a glass of wine thrown in my face. Women must be evil. It's all women are all evil everywhere, and they deserve everything they get. And you shouldn't trust women when they say this, that, and the other. And that's incredibly toxic. And then they go back to watch more videos because that's their safe place now.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of incels and red pillars all hating on women and making their problems that are perpetuated by these people that they are following because they don't want you to get better or be happier or be less lonely, blaming women for the problems of the behaviours that they are perpetuating. Yeah. Well, she didn't like me when I was horrible. Well, sorry, we don't want to be treated like shit.
Francis, thank you so much for the super chat. And Francis says, after my abuse, I didn't cry properly until I was 21. From 9. I'm so sorry, Francis. And young men are told that they shouldn't cry because crying is unmasculine. Mike Dick says, we live in a time when a man like Alex Pretty demonstrates what being a man is, genuinely trying to help a woman, yet the president would have you believe the overweight thugs who murdered him are men. Yeah. That's another huge issue that we're dealing with right now. And Andy says, I want AI to make a George Formby Terminator film. Okay, completely fucking random. Okay. But yeah, there is a point that Chris is saying, having been in prison several times, I've seen the toxic masculinity firsthand. There was a lot of bravado, acting the hard bloke, yet they are insecure deep down.
Yeah.
And they play on the insecurities.
That's exactly what it is. You're not man enough, you're not muscly enough, you're not tall enough.
So this looks maxing. This is new. Is this a new thing that's in the last sort of year or so that has become more of a thing?
New. I feel like it's more of a younger, I'm in my 30s, but I'm thinking it's sort of under 30s. It seems like more like, what are they, Gen Zers?
Yeah.
I think, it seems to be more in those kind of age groups where this is a thing. But there was that story, did we not? I think we talked about this before, didn't we, on one of the Friday night socials, where this guy he was mid-20s, I think. He'd gone and had surgery in Turkey and it went wrong. Did he do something to his jaw? And he was like, this has ruined my life now because I went to do something that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And he's now disfigured.
Yeah.
Because that is the risk with this stuff. I mean, we're talking about things like taking something heavy and metal and bashing it against their soft tissue in the hope that, bit like women were encouraged to wear corsets when they're training and stuff to shrink your waist. This stuff isn't permanent, but it's still causing soft tissue damage. Not enough space for organs.
Was it in China where women had their feet boxed in?
The feet wrapped, yeah. All of this kind of stuff's not good for you, and it's so unnecessary.
Yeah. Ivan, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. There's still not enough mental health awareness and education. This has a knock-on effect of many males still having a dangerous macho attitude. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Ivan as well, thank you so much for the super chat. And we are going to celebrate with a little bit of confetti. And this is very happy about that. So thanks for that, Ivan. You're absolutely right about the mental health awareness and education, and this is something that I'd like to see in schools as well, of awareness. Not just if you're going to talk about the perils and pitfalls of the toxic manosphere, I think also being able to talk to young men about the fact that the brain is the most complex thing we know of in the universe. I keep saying this, but it is. It's more complex than black holes. It's more complex than pulsars and radiation and all of the elements that exist. It's more complicated than all of that. All the subatomic particles. It's more complicated. It is the number of connections that your brain makes every fucking second of every day is insane. And we expect them to work perfectly because we're told to expect them to work perfectly, and there is a deep shame for a lot of people if it doesn't work properly. And I remember myself, like, when I was a kid, I was told I was hyperactive all the time, but no one ever thought that I was ADHD because it wasn't diagnosed then. And growing up, I remember, I think I wrote a blog post when I was travelling about the fact that if I had gone to school now, I would be diagnosed with ADHD and given some pills or something. Ha 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 ha. I've completely changed. I've gone 180 on that. I'm like, no, actually, those pills are helping. That's why you're taking them. You're not taking them for, shit and giggles. They don't taste that good, and I think everyone needs to. This is one of these things where you go, oh yeah, well I've improved myself, so everyone else should improve as well. But I do genuinely believe that there is a really good case there for having that conversation with young men and young women in school to say, if you're feeling like this, it's fine. You don't necessarily need to call it a disorder. Like, that's the one thing that me and Mike and others who've been diagnosed with ADHD were like, why is it a disorder? It's just our brain works differently. Yeah. That's not a disorder. It's just a thing. It's like being left-handed. But it's not something that we should be ashamed of, and not something that we should feel like we shouldn't get help with.
No, absolutely not.
But yeah, there's a lot of things we could do better than what we're doing at the moment, because we're just leaving. And I say we, like, this is the left again, isn't it? Flogging ourselves. Oh, unclean. But we are leaving a void, a vacuum, when it comes to interaction, relationships, especially young men, young women, and we're not talking about it like we should be. And that vacuum is being filled by those on the right who don't have people's best interests at heart. They just have their bank balance and, these grift lords who just want to make loads of money out of telling people what they want to hear, even if what they want to hear is incredibly, incredibly damaging to society.
It is really scary because these people are obviously very vulnerable, which is why they've turned to these spaces anyway. But on top of that, a large portion of them are extremely young, so they don't have that lived experience yet in adult relationships where that might kick in, where, I don't know, say it was you, for example, you're feeling a bit lonely, things aren't going great or whatever, you find this space, you might actually give it a second thought because you've had more lived experience. Whereas this is sort of like they're getting them fresh, which is even more worrying, I think. Yeah. Mike says men have gone from being convinced showering once a week was effeminate to men having plastic surgery to look like melted Lego people. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah. Chris says also the majority of men who do abuse women have often witnessed or suffered domestic abuse or CSA and have never received the adequate counselling needed to work things out. Yeah, that is a huge problem as well. And there are lots of people out there who do need help, but they're so proud they'll never go after help. They think that to do so would be a weakness, to do so would be to admit that they're not perfect and they're not, everyone else is marching out a step apart from me, And Tony says, with that example of prisons being a place of toxic masculinity, I would argue that women's prisons would be as toxic for similar reasons. Maybe I don't know enough about that.
Me neither.
And Diz is saying, Tony, they are toxic, so fair enough. Diz knows more than me. And Chris is replying to Tony there, saying yes, it exists in women's prisons, but nowhere near as bad as it is in the male prisons, especially young offenders. I've seen things kick off over minor things. Yeah. And one thing says the romanticisation and misrepresentation of the Vikings, Romans, etc. I think has been somewhat unhealthy too. Some weird historical confirmation of bigoted views, I think. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Because, the Vikings, like, they weren't necessarily all horn-wearing lunatics who just raped and pillaged. It wasn't quite like that. And you read stories about how the Roman society worked, but even like things like pirates, we think of pirates as, bloodthirsty real men. Yeah. But the reality was there was a lot of homosexuality on pirate ships. There was democracy on pirate ships. They would often vote, the crew would vote, and there were women who were pirates, famous women pirates who were part of the Pirate Republic, which is now the Bahamas. The Bahamas, the motto of the Bahamas is like pirates gone, trade resumed, or something. Because the pirates ran it for like 20 years. It was the Pirate Republic.
See, that's mental.
And it was all a democracy. It was all like, with Blackbeard in charge.
I mean. I feel like this sort of our new sort of Western society has sort of like gotten rid of the history, because if you look at the history, like men used to kiss each other to greet each other. There was love between blokes as well, and it wasn't seen as like, you know, them being emasculated. It was seen as, oh, this is just a form of community and connection. Yeah. It's almost like this, you know, even if you look at something like Lord of the Rings, if you've ever read the books,
yes,
there's beautiful relationships going on there between men.
Yeah.
And it's not gay. It was written really nicely. Yeah. Also by a man.
By a man who had experienced war. He had all of his friends, Tolkien had all of his friends wiped out in World War One. He went to war with his mates and they all died. He was the only survivor of his little group that went there. Awful. And and that obviously impacted his writing. And he said he didn't like allegory, and he didn't write The Lord of the Rings as an allegory for, you know, World War One or World War Two. But at the same time, I think his lived experiences really come to the fore in that. Yeah. And what wins at the end of the day is friendship and kindness and pity, and, you know, these traits that are seen sometimes as not that masculine. You know, it's all got to be a pissing contest. I get tired of that. I really can't be arsed with pissing contests. I know some people who, every time I see them, it's got to be like, I bench pressed 2,000 kilojoules or something. I don't know how it works. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what these words mean. It's like, you know, if you're not into cars and someone tells you what the HP of their engine is, and you're like, isn't that a printing company or something? You know, I don't know. I don't even know what that means, but well done. Yeah. That's just like, men do have that tendency to turn things into a big pissing contest. And maybe the internet, maybe this whole toxic manosphere thing is just the end game of that. It's
just, I mean, it's weird though, because if I see men getting into that, that to me screams insecure man, and that to me is a giant red flag, and I don't want to be in your space or anywhere near you, because you're just hideously insecure, and at some point that's going to come in my direction or not be very nice to be around. Yeah. So it's all of this behaviour is for other men, and it's created by other men, because women don't want it. Generally speaking, there'll always be outliers, obviously, but generally speaking, we don't want that anywhere near us. Thank you.
Can you kindly go away? We've got real weird stuff going on the internet. We've lost 12. I'm sorry, we're losing frames. Can you just tell me in the chat if our audio is going off as well? Because if it's just the visual and, you know, my hand is going like this, don't worry about that. But if it's the sound is going off, then we've got a bit of a problem. Bloody Tom Bombadil, why? Says Andy. Good question. To which no one can ever have an adequate answer. Chris C says, SOX never said it was an excuse. What I was pointing out at the moment that domestic abuse is identified, very little support is put in place other than removing the abuser. Yeah, that's true as well. And this is something that, you know, when we talk about men who have got these big problems in their mental state that makes them do these things, you put them in jail, it's not going to stop them having these thoughts. It's not going to stop their mental state or help their mental state, I don't think.
No, punishment is not the same as rehabilitation. And I think if you're going to punish, you also need to rehab for that to be effective. Especially if you ever want those people able to, depending on what they've done, be allowed back into society. You can't have one without the other.
But time and time again, we see men who have been accused of rape and have actually gone down for it. They get out of jail and then they go and commit murder, or they're on bail for a sexual crime and they kill the person who has accused them. And this is that's the justice system. We've been talking the justice system, the education system, but also like having friendship groups and places that are like safe spaces on the internet. And I hope we create a bit of a safe space here on the Politics Social channel, but where we can talk about this stuff and without people jumping down each other's throats, you know. One Angry Pagan says, I still think Thatcherism contributed massively to this prevalent attitude of it being shameful or weak to ask for help. I think it's always been there, mate. I don't think it's anything new. That was the attitude in the 50s. I mean, there's so many people coming back from the war in the 1940s and even after First World War. A lot of men shell-shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, men who were like really fucked up with PTSD were shot. They were shot dead for, you know, desertion, when actually they were suffering from mental health problems. Yeah. And there is, I think that generational trauma, the generation who came back from the war, their children are the boomers. And I think that explains a lot for some of the attitudes of some of the boomers. Not all boomers, don't at me. But yeah, that would make sense, because isn't there a line about people who have bad things done to them will do bad things in turn?
Yeah.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Hurt people, yeah. Exactly. That must have an influence on your parenting style. That must do.
Yeah.
100% it would. There's no doubt.
So what else can we do? I mean, apart from talking about it on channels like this and pushing the government to do more and talking to our MPs and...
I think it's really tricky, because I feel like our society as a whole, both men and women, we have lost this sort of community feel that we used to have. And there's so many reasons for that. Like, everything's on a screen. Everyone is working 2 jobs, trying to raise their kids, get everyone to bed. We're all knackered. No one can afford to go out to the pub. The pubs are closed down. The banks are gone. The old people can't see the shopping people because they can't use a self-service anymore, and they just wanted to speak to some... It's all sort of not built for...
but apart from all
human relationships.
What have the Tories wrecked for us? The aqueduct.
It's crazy, isn't it? For me, it's about trying to, in whatever way we can, form human connection. And unfortunately, I do think there is a difference between how men and women view this. I mean, there are guys like you, and you guys, I'm assuming, as part of the channel, who still have meaning relationships with their mates and make a bit more of an effort. But I think there is a difference between how women see things and how men see things, and what I feel the focus, particularly on red pill and like the male loneliness epidemic, is on romantic relationships. And the focus shouldn't be on that if you're lonely, because that's not necessarily always a guarantee. You would not be as lonely if you had other fulfilling relationships at work, within your friendship circle, if your familial relations. I know we've all got family, things going on, but it's not just the romance and lack of sex that makes you lonely, and so don't let Andrew Tate tell you that that's what it is. It's the other parts of your life that work as well, and that stuff is all really important. And I think like women are more likely to, certainly, I mean anecdotal, but also the stats back it up, reach out for help, call their girlfriend, send a 9-minute long voice note if they need something or they fancy having a chit chat. To maintain those things, I think men are less likely to do so. I mean, what's your personal experience of that?
Well, I was thinking about how nowadays, right, we are looking at the younger generation and saying how they're being misled on purpose for clicks, for money. But I'm thinking back to, I know, someone's Pete's shouting out, not all boomers, no, Pete. But no, my generation, so I'm on the cusp of Generation X and millennials, and I watched films, we were talking about this earlier, and every romantic film out there involved a bloke, I use all the comedy films as well, a bloke who fancied a woman who wasn't fucking interested because he was a dick, and he hassled her and hassled her and hassled her, and then finally at the end of the movie she caves and goes, okay, I'll go out with you. Which is a terrible way to start a relationship, believe me. But like, growing up with that seemed okay, so this person who I fancy has said they don't want to go out with me. Do you know what? I'll just keep asking instead of just taking it as, okay, well, I'll find somebody else. Do you know what? One of the biggest sort of things that I always think of when it comes to relationships, and I've mentioned this before on the channel, it's Tim Minchin's song, If I Didn't Have You, I'd probably have someone else. I just want everyone to get... Because do you know what I think is a toxic idea? That the idea that there's the one... I don't know. I don't want to fall out with you on this if you think otherwise, but I don't think it's helpful. I mean, some people do find someone and they lobsters and they mate for life. But that's not the reality of a lot of people. You know, you fall in love, you fall out of love. Things change in life, and circumstances and the way you feel will naturally change. And some things that when you're in love you will overlook certain things, and then once the first rush sort of seeps away, you start noticing stuff. And if people eat really noisily, it might just drive you up the fucking wall. If they keep leaving the toilet seat up, Graham, you bastard, that might do it. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't think this is just an issue for young people. I think it is an issue for society as a whole, that we need to just be a bit more grown up in how we look at life and relationships. I love the film Frozen. I know it sounds like an ADHD randomness, but I love the fact that Anya falls in love with this guy who she has a song and dance routine with, and her sister's like, what the fuck? What, you fall in love with the guy just because you did a song and dance thing with him? He's probably a dick, and he turns out to be a dick. Sorry, spoilers if anyone's not seen Frozen. But do you know what I mean? Like, that's good. That's good. That's saying that, you know, that guy bloke who thinks he's Prince Charming might not actually turn out to be Prince Charming. And very few stories in real life end with they got married and lived happily ever after. You know, it's like nearly half of all marriages end in divorce. So obviously that's not the case. Sphere Lance, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's incredibly kind of you. When I was getting therapy to help me understand myself after being diagnosed as autistic at 39, and now 53, I learned that child bullies are often bullies because they learnt that behaviour. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And also because they've been allowed to get away with it.
Yes.
I mean, especially in sort of more posh schools, grammar schools and private schools, that sort of occasion, it might not be encouraged, but it's not exactly discouraged.
No.
You know, that whole hazing of kids and, you know, the initiation ceremonies and all that kind of nonsense.
Big part of the culture, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah. And this is another thing. Like you're saying you got diagnosed as autistic. I've got a friend who's sadly no longer with us. And after he died, I was talking to his sister, and she said to me, if I think he may have been autistic. And up to that point, I'd never thought about it. But then once she said that, I thought, oh God, that makes so much more sense.
Just clicked.
It just absolutely clicked. And I do genuinely believe that he'd been diagnosed and he'd got the support and the understanding that comes with that support.
Yeah.
Because getting my ADHD diagnosis last year, and I'm not the first person to say this, and I've said it on this channel before, it was great for me because it allowed me to reappraise things that I've done in my life and forgive myself for certain things that I beat myself up about. Not, you know, like not committing murder or not, but like just like stupid things that I've done or said in the past that have like, you know, derailed my career or whatever, you know. I've gone a different way because of it. And it made me go, okay, well, maybe there's more of a deeper reason. And I do believe that if Dan had been diagnosed with autism, he might have had that support and he might still be with us now.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And this is when diagnoses like this can save lives. And it really fucks me off when you get these people on the talk shows, you know, the right wingers going, oh, everyone's getting diagnosed with autism these days. Everyone's getting diagnosed with ADHD. Oh, everyone wants to be trans these days. No one wants this.
No, and also it's because we just know more about it. People used to, I mean, some people still think the earth is flat.
Yeah.
You have more knowledge, more things come to light, you realise there are other populations where their brains work differently.
There's always going to be dickheads though, isn't
to me, I mean, that's true. But, I mean, this stuff isn't difficult to understand to me. Like, you know, medical science makes progress, you learn more shit. Yeah. It's really that simple.
Miss Paul Thomas has dropped the super chat in as well, thank you very much, and makes a really good point here. She says, serious offence like rape or GBH are never the first offence someone commits.
No,
there is usually a history of other offences building up to it.
Well,
yeah, what can I get away with? What can I get away with?
Yeah, so the behaviour escalates every time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we've got a president of the United States who brags about sexually abusing women.
Yes.
And that just gives the green light to everyone who votes for this guy. You know, that's the way, you know, women should be treated. And some women who have voted for this guy is like, yeah, that's okay if someone does that to me, I don't mind. And you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Sphere Lance says, my diagnosis came as a result of therapy for borderline personality disorder, aka misdiagnosis 74. It was through that the therapist said you aren't BPD but might be autistic.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's another thing with mental health as well, because
quite common.
Yeah, it first of all, it's never that straightforward.
No, never.
And secondly, like things that start as one problem with depression or anxiety or something else can change over time as your brain chemistry changes as you get older and metamorphosize into something else, and you're still getting the treatment for something that you haven't actually got a problem with that anymore. It's something else now. And so yeah, misdiagnosis, especially when it comes to mental health, is very all too common. Apart from talking about it more and having more mental health therapists and stuff out there, which we really desperately need, I don't know how we can do much about that, because how do you diagnose ADHD? You've got to talk to someone.
You've got
and then make an appraisal based on their responses.
Yeah,
it's not great, is it?
No,
it's like,
because everyone will have their own personal bias. It's difficult.
If someone comes in like this, you can scan their arm and see if they've broken their arm. It's that simple.
Whereas
but
with different brains and diagnosis, it's really difficult because that's people's personal things are going to come into it, whether you try not to or not. So.
Thanks so much, Ivan, for the super chat. It was really kind of you, mate, and really appreciate you being on this channel and supporting us and everything. Being housebound, I find it really difficult for friends to visit me. If it was always the way around, I'd always visit them. The situation is even worse for me finding a partner. Ivan, I completely understand, mate, and it is a source of, I don't know. It's sad that that's the case. I want to give you a bit of a positive though. Like, you are part of this community and you are a very treasured and valued part of this community. So thank you for coming here and watching our shows. Even, sometimes when we're talking about stuff that you don't want to talk about. But no, we really, really appreciate it. And I'm glad that the technology is here for you to be able to do that and for us to be able to have this conversation, which we wouldn't otherwise be able to have. But yeah, as far as visiting people, God, my friends are shit for that. How many times do you come to visit me? But yeah, I live in deepest, darkest Durham, and it is difficult, especially with friends who've got kids and stuff, to come and visit me because most of my friends are in Liverpool, and then I've got a bunch of mates down here, but you're all scattered about. Yeah. I'm like, where do you live? Oh, somewhere near London, and I'm on the train for 3 hours, and I'm like. London. Yeah. Lol. Yeah. But yeah, it is difficult. And like I said at the start of the show, I mean, they've made it more difficult to get around. I've always believed that social mobility and physical mobility are intertwined. And one of the reasons that a lot of people who are physically disabled are held back, and people who have mental health issues as well are held back, is because we don't put enough things in place to allow them to get around. Physically get around.
No, I mean, there's even when God, every time I'm logging on to have a look at my trains and stuff, and I'm travelling into London, I'm up north, I'm doing whatever for work, there's always on my train apps, disruption. What's the disruption? The lifts are out. And I'm like, well, that straight away means people who are disabled can't get around. So I mean, it's a disaster. The amount of awful treatment that goes on the train services anyway. You've got you see a lot of stuff in the news still. Helps not turning up. It's a disaster, and that just makes you more and more isolated, which goes back to loneliness in general. If you don't have access to these spaces, like, this is a really good place because it's an online space that's friendly and nice and not radicalising humans. It's a friendly, open
Which we're not trying to radicalise you, but if we drive you up the wall and come to the left.
But it's,
revolution.
It's a nice, helpful, friendly community space, I feel.
Yeah.
And this is great, but the internet is bad in other places.
Yeah.
It's that balance, isn't it? There's so many pros and cons to having the internet in general.
Yes.
Because quite often it's an echo chamber. And people, I don't think, try to go outside of their echo chamber. I make a real effort, even though I'm left, to go looking for things that aren't, so that I can understand the other side. Yeah. Because I think that's really important.
I dip my toe in. Obviously, you're on Facebook or you're on Blue Sky, or God, they'll be on Twitter, but if you are on Twitter, you will see the other side. Yeah. You will see the other side's point of view about everything that happens in the news. And the idea that we're all trapped in this bubble, I think it's bollocks. Like, every day on the morning show, I do the papers and I say this, and they're all right-wing papers, apart from the Mirror. And the Guardian, maybe. Yeah, that's they're all right-wing newspapers, so that's the view from the other side. They're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing happening, the thing that happened, and they're taking away a different viewpoint from it. And I think that it's unfair when people go, "Oh, you're trapped in your left-wing bubble," and talking about. And I'm like, I'd love to be trapped in a left-wing bubble. I'd love to be in a world where I never have to hear what Rupert fucking Murdoch thinks about anything. That'd be great. But I'm not. Where I don't hear about Trump, I don't hear about Farage, I don't hear about Marine Le Pen or Erdogan or that fucking Orban dickhead from Hungary. I see them on the news. I see I do.
You can't get away from them, frankly. If you're trying to stay informed in any capacity, you can't do anything but be bombarded with this stuff.
Yeah. But also, I mean, being able to unplug, I think, is really important. And I think digital detoxes should be something that is part of mental health therapy for people to be able to say, okay, I need to just stop doom scrolling, stop having a look for a few days for the sake of my own mental health, or a few weeks or a few months or whatever you need. And that's what we always say on this channel is like, if you need some time to work on your mental health, please go sort it out, and then we'll still be here. Don't worry.
Has to be the priority. Your health is far more important than staying up to date, always.
Yeah, absolutely. But there is the other thing which we need to talk about, because someone's talking about antidepressants. Something that works for you might not work for someone else. Something that didn't work for you might work for someone else. Everyone's different, and the therapy, especially when it comes to mental health problems, can be different for everyone. Please don't dismiss something that didn't work for you because it might be really, really helpful for someone else in the same situation, because everyone's brain chemistry is different and everyone reacts differently to the different things. I've been taking my ADHD pills. What it's made is my dreams really fucking vivid.
Weird, yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. I sleep for 20 minutes and it feels like I've been asleep for 20 hours.
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm like, bloody hell, is it Thursday? And I'm like, no, it's only been 20 minutes. It's kind of crazy. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Oh, that was really kind of you. Thank you. But yeah, I want to stress that as well, because one of the things that really winds me up is when you go on Facebook and they've got like some pictures of like pills and it says, this is shit, go for a walk. And I'm like, honestly, if I was depressed and I went for a walk around Durham and saw all this fucking upside down fucking rags, the butcher's aprons on every fucking tree and what they called the lamppost, it would make me more sad, okay? Yeah. However I was feeling, it would not. I wouldn't go, that's fresh country air. You know, it would just be like, what if the forest that you go for a walk in is that one in Japan where they all kill themselves?
Yeah.
That's not going to cheer you up, is it?
No, it's really not.
And not to say that going for a walk doesn't improve your mental health. We know that it does.
Exercise does. We know it releases serotonin, but when you're that poorly and you're feeling that depressed or you've got things going on, it's really hard to motivate yourself to do that in the first place. So you know it's good, you can rationalise that stuff, but you don't care enough to try and force yourself a lot of the time. So I don't think... It's just hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, life is hard. Adulting is hard. Everything is hard.
Yeah, you miss being a kid because you didn't have to take responsibility for anything. That's why people like Donald Trump, because he's like a big kid who doesn't take responsibility for everything, and they want to be that. They want to be someone who lives a life free of consequences of their actions, what they say, what they do, no consequences. Boris Johnson's the same. People respond to Boris Johnson because they're like, I want that to be me. I want a world where I can just get away with literal murder and not have to be constrained by the rules of the tribe, which is a disgraceful way of thinking, I think. I think, anyway. So there's my support was literally 6-30-minute CBT sessions, cognitive behavioural therapy, which has helped some of my friends and some of my other friends. It's really not helped, but the fact that they stop it is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
it's like,
I agree.
You've had your 6 sessions, off you pop.
It's not, and unless you are in the privileged position to continue that until you feel like between you and your therapist feel you can stop that. I've had it privately because the NHS, when I had a mental breakdown a few years ago, saved my life, and then the recovery bit, not great at all. Acute mental health services involved, not particularly helpful, and I realise NHS is on its knees. Even 7 years ago when this was awful. So it's a lot of the time it's about having the privilege to be able to pay for those services that aren't funded, because 6 sessions is not a lot actually at all, really. No, if you think about it, it really isn't.
And then again, this is another thing where, I know I'm always going about like rich people getting stuff, but like if you have the money, you can afford
it's about
to get
access,
the therapy,
isn't it?
You can afford to go to the Priory for your addictions. You can afford to, even things like not just like medical issues, but also if you think about people who can afford to get, like at the moment, if you're trans, if you've got a trans kid and they want puberty blockers, if you've got the money, you can get them. I know you can't get them on a private prescription in this country, but you can get them private prescription from somewhere else. If you've got the money to fly to Switzerland and get them, or your parents do, and fly back, no one's going to check the luggage for that. And that is really worrying, because it means that, like so many things in life, it's become the preserve of the super rich. I was talking today with Rachel about when I my Australian girlfriend, who splits up with about 13 years ago now. One of the reasons we split up, I mean, not the only one, but one of them was that she's Australian and I was British. And if she wanted to live here full time, I had to be earning £18,600 a year. And at the time, I wasn't. Now it's like 38,000.
Yeah.
So if you're rich, you can have a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife from anywhere in the world because you're rich. If you're not rich, you can't. Simple as that. And I had a mate of mine, Carl, who's from Warrington. He I was going to say he played for the Navy, like he was a football player. Jesus. He was in the Navy and he was stationed in Argentina. He fell in love with a Chilean woman who was there, and they got married, and they were together for 10 years. And they travelled all around Central America and South America. I met them because they came and stayed on my island. They were living in Bocas at the time. And lovely, lovely couple. Absolutely gorgeous. Really lovely couple. Anyway, he gets a job for the Royal Navy. Now, he's out of the Navy, yeah? But he's an engineer. And they're doing some new naval dockyard things in Portsmouth. He gets a 1-year contract, right? He turns up at Heathrow with his wife of 10 years. And they go, are you earning enough to have your spouse in this country? And he goes, yes, here's my contract with the Royal Navy, with the actual, this is a veteran, someone who fought for Britain. And they go, sorry, that's not a salaried position, that is a short-term contract. Your wife is going to have to get on a plane and fly back to wherever the fuck she's from. So for 1 year, my mate and his wife weren't together. He was doing his job down in Portsmouth. She was back in Chile with her mum and dad. And that was for an entire year of their life together. And if they had kids together at that time, it wouldn't have made any difference at all. The kids would not have seen their dad for a year. Because that's the system we have in the UK.
That is bonkers.
It's horrifying. But if you're rich, you don't have to put up with this shit.
No.
Ivan, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. As an autistic adult man, I can categorically say that CBT doesn't work for most autistic people. I have to go private, and I'm a social security. I go private because there's no use of CBT. Yeah, Ivan, I don't know if CBT is appropriate for people who are autistic because I've not had any experience of that. The things that friends of mine who have had CBT, it's been for borderline personality disorder, and it's also been for depression, and in cases with my friends it has been successful. So yeah. But it wasn't enough, like that needed to continue beyond the 6 weeks or whatever it was. But yeah, just trying to get that balance right where everyone gets the help that they need will also reduce harm and reduce crime, because people are getting the help that they need. But a big problem with mental health, obviously, is it's that joke, isn't it, about the how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? None. The light bulb's got to want to change. Do you know what I mean? Like, if people don't ask for help, it's very, very difficult. People don't accept they've got anything wrong with them, and they're completely normal, and the world is wrong.
Yeah,
it's an issue.
It gets really tricky.
It does get really tricky, in a way that doesn't happen with physical problems.
No. It's very obvious, isn't it, that you need help. People see they've broken their arm or something's swollen up or there's a lump here or whatever. They go to the hospital, they go to the doctors, or minor injuries or whatever it is, and they go, I definitely need help with this. This doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And that's that. When it's your brain that feels broken, it's almost like you're a burden, you don't deserve help. But that's part of the illness, normally. And
Chris C is saying exactly this. He's saying, can we all agree that mental health needs to be treated far more seriously than it currently is? Absolutely, Chris. Couldn't agree more. Instead of being reactive, let's try being proactive.
Yeah.
And I think a huge part of that is encouraging people to not feel bad about the way their brain works, and to not feel stigmatized, to not feel like there's something wrong with them. Get rid of the word disorder. Get that, we don't need that. It's not a disorder. You know, isn't it like if you want to get a gender recognition certificate, you've got to be actually diagnosed with what's the word they use for it?
Gender dysphoria.
Gender dysphoria. Which sounds like there's something wrong with someone, which it isn't. Don't forget, until quite recently, being gay was seen as a mental health problem.
That is utterly ridiculous. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Utterly ridiculous. Is being straight seen as a problem? Why? Why is that the default, and who created that?
It should be. bloody straighties being all boring. And Diz says, sorry, dog just peed on the floor. I'm so sorry, Diz. That sucks. Bloody hell. And Diz says, your mind lies to you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a powerful tool and it can work against you if it's not functioning properly.
That's absolutely true. Oh, I didn't realise we got confetti then. We got one more confetti. I think we're going to wrap up in a moment. But yeah, confetti. So yeah, we're just in conclusion, if you like. We need to talk about the ongoing issue that we have. And we all watched Adolescence last year. You watched Adolescence, didn't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic show. Brought up in Congress in America, brought up in Parliament in the UK. And it told a really, really powerful story. And yet, there are people who are part of the toxic manosphere who watched that and just didn't recognise themselves at all. They didn't see themselves as like, oh shit, I'm contributing to this.
No, of course they didn't. But that's because I feel like they're too deep in it.
There was people saying, oh, but why was the kid white? And I'm like, because that's what happens. Do you think any black kids are taken in by Andrew fucking Tate? I don't
know.
think that by a white guy.
No, exactly.
With no cock. But yeah, looking through chat. That's something else. I've been told by NHS staff 3 times this week that I should try making a private appointment to see a surgeon if I want it to happen quicker, says Mike. That is so bad. Like, Mike's battling cancer, so this is life and death.
Yeah.
And they're saying, oh, do you want to go private? Do you want to go private? I was told that for my ADHD. I was told if you do the right to choose, you can go with a private company, but it'll get paid for by the NHS. And I'm like, it still took 2 fucking years. But yeah, that's a bit of a shit system at the moment, isn't it? There's so much stuff to fix.
It's been chronically underfunded by the Tories, and now there's mess to clean up, and it's a mess. So then people go private, and then they give less funding to the NHS because people start going private, but that's really their only option. And then we go, oh, the NHS doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? It's a
vicious circle.
Nightmare, yeah.
So when it looks like there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, don't forget we can do a little bit. We can all do a little bit to help the situation.
Definitely. It's not hopeless, I don't feel. Especially not when there are really brilliant communities like this who really deeply care about things and want to see and affect change.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's going to be a wholesale change of everything overnight. But if there are content creators out there who are making really good stuff, support them. And I'm not saying you have to give them super chats or you have to give me super chats or anyone. It's just, there are people out there making stuff that chimes with you and you think it's important. Not just watching the stuff because that helps people who are relying on the advertising to make the rent, but also like telling your friends, telling people in your life that there are people having good messages, because you don't know you're 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. you don't know who they're going to say to go and have a listen to this stuff, and that's really good. But I just want to say thank you to everyone in the chat, and there's such a great little community that we've got here, and everyone sort of helps each other out, and there's a lot of love and camaraderie and support, which I think is really, really important. And as I said over Christmas, if anyone wants to join the Discord chat, I think someone was talking about it earlier. I don't know if I have to go and sort it out, but if you do want to join the Discord chat, just go over to Graham David Hughes. You can join the channel. That's one way of doing it. But otherwise, if you want to go to grahamdavidhughes.com, go to the message box at the bottom, and I'll get an email off you, and I'll give you access if you want to have a chat with other people. I mean, there's loads of people in there who were members of the channel, but they're not members anymore. It's okay. It's fine. I don't mind. It doesn't cost me anything. It's not like I'm paying rent or nothing. I'm paying rent for all these people to stay in my head, rent free. But yeah, Emma Thorne is always worth a watch. Yeah, and also putting other people onto people in the chat here. If you want to put people onto other people who are making good stuff, that is worth listening to. So thank you, everyone out there in the community. Thanks to Hannah in real life. Can I give you a high five? Yes, really. This is the first time I've met Hannah in real life. We've been making shows together for 2-3 years now. Yeah.
Mental.
That is crazy. I think it was 2023 when we first did the show.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because was that back end of COVID still? There was still bits.
Probably,
and pieces,
I think so. It's been a while, but yeah. You live down south, I get a nosebleed if I come this far south.
Yeah, it's different down here.
But no, this has been a really good week. Tomorrow, like I say, I'm going to go and see Mike in the afternoon, and I'll put a picture of us on the site here. And then in the evening, Pranay and Scott and I are going to be joining up in London to go to the pub. So that should be a lot of fun, and we're going to do a three blokes in the pub. Going back to my roots. And on Saturday, I'm going to the adventure travel show at Olympia on Saturday. Michael Palin, one of my all-time heroes and inspiration for my travels around the world. He's going to be speaking there, so I'm going to go to that. And then I'm meeting up with the Moving Forward crew. All that lot, and then I'm meeting up with Aid Thompson.
Wait.
So me and Aid and Pranay, we're gonna go out. So so that'll be the end of my week. I'm gonna get really drunk, have a hangover all the way home, and oh my god, Sunday I might, if you're very lucky, to please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon, because Sunday I want to take you with me on my journey from hell, because I'm going to be travelling back from London. And the East Coast main line is closed past Peterborough. So I'm going home via Manchester. I'm taking the West Coast main line up to Manchester, and then I'm taking the Transpennine Express. The whole journey's going to take me about 9 hours to get home to Durham. I'm not going to get home till after midnight.
Oh my god. As someone that uses the trains all the time, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
That actually makes me feel physically sick thinking about
that. But yeah, so please keep in touch with everybody else in the chat, and be kind. Be kind. I think that's the most important message that we can put out right now. Is we are all going through whatever we're going through, and you don't know what other people are dealing with, and I think that's worth bearing in mind. But as long as we make a little pact to get through this shit together.
We will.
Get out the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
In one piece, one way or another. Hopefully, fingers crossed. That'll be great. So thanks very much to my co-host, Hannah James.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for watching. I'll be back on the couch here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Hannah might join me for morning brew if you're awake.
If I'm awake. We'll see. I'm not a morning person.
Might hear her snoring upstairs. But yeah, I'll be back for that, and I'd love you to join us for that. Hopefully I'll see you then. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye. Oh, I said goodbye, and then I press the button and nothing happens. I pressed that and nothing happens. Okay, hang on. Oh, there we go. There's the thing. Intersection. Lovely. Bye.